Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Chats. For those of you who are new, my name is Christina, and I'm an acceleration expert. And we are here to talk about those topics and issues that are significant for us starseeds, wayshowers, and new paradigm visionaries. I do, to the best of my ability, to provide a liberated perspective to our very unique challenges. We have capacities that are different than our typical human family, and therefore we understand things in a very different way. So the reason why I offer these chats is because my guidance has told me over many years that we are going through some really crazy times, and it's a very it's important that we maintain our sanity, our wellness, we maintain our centeredness the best to our abilities, and also utilize the events that come in a way that makes us deeper, stronger, okay, more in ourselves. So I'm here to assist to the best of my ability, you guys, in that. Last week, I talked about this extremely unique event going on with the Syrian Stargate. I'm going to continue to talk about that and how we can ride these waves of intensity, of heartbreak, of pain, of death and letting go. I'm also going to talk about what proper use of power looks like. I think many people have a misunderstanding of what real power is. Real power does not perpetuate pain. It's not about control and domination. That is power over dynamics. True power is something very different than what many of us have come to understand. So I want to talk about that. And the other piece I want to talk about is, this place that we're going to as a collective. Those of us who've been doing this work for years, decades, we are needed right now because we have the ability to see things in a different way. We have the ability to embody very significant energies that are integrated in our being, right? And by that, we can assist others. And I'm not just talking about people who think like us. We can assist the average humans, our neighbors, maybe our family members that are, mainstream, stuff like this. We have the ability, the capacity, and this is the time. This is the time that we are being called to really step up and connect with other people, to connect with our community, connect with our star family, and work together, support each other. So I'm going to talk about what that looks like. But first, I'm going to say hi. Hello, dear sister Tony. Good to see you. Spirit Bound Neo. It's been a while. It's been a while. Welcome back, darling. So good to see you. And hello, darling Beverly. Glad that you're here. Personal power versus power over others. Yes. So, well, before I dive into that, there's a couple of things that I need to talk about. Okay. And that is stories. Okay. Stories. We have stories that define who we think we are. We have stories that define relationships. We have stories that tell us this, about our pain, about our heartbreak, about our joys, about our journeys. Okay, we have all these stories. And stories are very, very, very powerful. Okay. And the powers that be, so to speak, that have been overlaying the collective grids of this planet have inserted a lot of lies, a lot of stories that deepen us into disempowerment. And one of those stories is, and this is so, so important for us to understand, it's a sickness. And one of these stories that we're told about our relationship with Creator, our relationship with God, Goddess, all it is, whatever the universe, whatever you want to name that, right? Is that the story is that if we are good, if we are good enough, if we pray good enough, if we're more sincere enough, if we do, our light work well enough, we do this well enough, we do things that are in purity, somehow that means we are not going to have a hard time, right? And when we do have a hard time, we kind of go, because of this lie, when we do have really difficult, painful things that we go through, we have this story of, why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? Right? For example, I have a pain in my shoulder that is pretty excruciating sometimes. And there is a point where I was kind of thinking, how am I out of alignment? What am I doing? What am I buying into that's pulling me out of my truth? La, 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 la. But really, through healing journeys and meditation and because I'm constantly working on this piece, that story flipped around, where now it shows me that when I am stepping into really strong currents of life force energy and embodying very expanded levels of my own consciousness, it fires up the pain in my shoulder. Right? So the story changes. Is one true and the other not? No, actually they can both be true at the same time. And this is an example of us going through these narratives where we get liberated out of that polarity thinking, the right, wrong, good or bad thinking. And really, what would really serve us is to recognize that we are on a very fast moving river, very fast moving river of life, and every moment is a different combination of things. And if we keep overlaying our narratives on these moments, we're just recreating the past in the moment. So one level is to go through the different stories, the opposites, where they're both true. Then that creates a doorway where you can open up into something else, something not yet realized, recognized. You can let the moment be new. You can let it be fresh. So this overlay, the story that if I'm good enough and if I'm pious enough, if I'm this enough and that enough, I'm going to have a blessed life. And that distortion has really served us in a very deep way of disempowerment. And what I want to say is that our work, the reason why we do our work, is so we can be truly present with ourselves, free of the story, free of the narratives, free of the good enough, the not good enough, the shame, the guilt, you know what I mean? So we can truly be present with what's happening. And the fact is, heartbreak, pain, very difficult circumstances happen, whether you are a dedicated practitioner or not. The difference is that you cultivate the ability to be present with your pain, be present with what's happening inside, and in that you alchemize the experience. The experience brings you deeper into your self, your capital S self. My most recent example that I have is heartbreak, heart-wrenching heartbreak, like to the point where where I'm not able, you wake up crying, you wake up, wake up and I never know when I'm going to just start bawling my eyes out. Now, true power is that I can have my experience without blame. That's what real power is, without blame for other, without blame for myself. And I can truly allow my love and my pain to exist in the same space. And when that happens, it is so, so liberating. Not that it's not excruciating, not that it's not painful, not that, I'm like, oh, yay, I get to have heartbreak. No, none of those things. I don't want to have it, but I'm having it anyway, right? So as this alchemy happens inside, it's like now I'm settling deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into myself. And I have a vision that I was given that was like a precursor to the events that are unfolding Now, I'm sharing the story because this is only the beginning. The Syrian Stargate, combined with that pole shift of our sun, which happens every 11 years, combined with the gamma rays of Cygnus, combined with all these other additional cosmic frequencies, okay, it's creating a lot of very intense things. And the moment things are shifting drastically from moment to moment to moment. It's almost like bouncing to opposites over and over and over again. It can be very confusing. But when we are really anchored within ourselves, we have a clear path that we can navigate. Okay, so this is why I'm sharing this. So the vision I had was I was being called to go into the underworlds, and all these doors open going right into the underworlds. And I had a feeling that I was going into some level of hell realm. And I had the thought, like, do I really want to do that? Right? But it was a very strong call. And I trusted my inner self of there's a reason why. And I needed to go in and get to the root cause of suffering. Now, there's a lot of masters that talk about this and stuff, but this was for me. This was for me to truly touch the frequencies, the energies of what creates this sort of dynamic, so I can have a very deep, integrated, truthful understanding. So it's not just a concept in my head, it's an actual energy that exists deeply rooted in my being. So I did. I went into the underworlds, and I went into the hell realms, and it was dark, dark, dark. And there was one, and it was really just a battle, like one hurting the other, keep over and over again. And like I would see these eyes shooting arrows at another person's heart, and I would see just wanting anger, so much anger, and wanting to cause pain, and wanting to get back at, and wanting, all this mayhem. And I kept journeying through it, and I would see it, and it was a little, well, it was a lot of bit scary, but I was just staying the course. And it came to a moment, and this was a masculine, it looked like a masculine energy, felt like a masculine energy, but I don't want to put this all on masculine or feminine, because it's far beyond that. What it was an overlay. And what I realized in this moment, because I was asking this being, why are you hurting another person? Why are you doing this? And they told me, blame. They were blaming these things around them for their experience, for their pain, and for their experience. And in that moment, I woke up. I woke up like whoosh, right? And I'm in the hell realms, in the underworlds, and the veils opened, and I saw all of this that was happening in the underworlds, these energies of suffering and pain. It all just opened up, and I realized that all of this was rooted in ecstatic union, okay, of creative forces. And what I saw was that all of it is based on bliss, ecstasy. But what makes an experience turn into a dark experience are the beings in the experience blaming something for their experience, rather than realizing that they are in an experience that they themselves are creating. So the power in that is profound. One, I can feel the truth of how underneath it all, it's all beauty. It's all beauty. It's all rivers of ecstasy, of love. But when these experiences come, which we are all in desire for, as soon as we abdicate responsibility and blame something outside of ourselves, that's where it turns into that chaos of suffering. Now we are suffering because there's always somebody to point the finger at. There's always something to point the finger at. And even those that do a lot of internal exploration, well, and this is a core wound for all of humanity, I believe, is this idea of forsakenness. It's God's fault. It's, it's Creator's fault. Why, Creator, would you let such terrible things happen? But if using just those words, Creator, Prime Creator, what do you want? Whatever that word is that you want, that you use, it's just in bliss, creating. And everything that comes from that is you. And that is a tough pill to swallow. But circling back around, when we can have our experience, our intense experience, and love anyway, then we can forgive ourselves for the experience, but also realize that there was a purpose for it. There was a purpose that is not a suffering piece. It's a purpose of liberating. We are right now, as a whole, as humanity, we have a lot of things that have been overlaid on our reality that has created many generations of suffering, male, female alike. No one is coming out unscathed from this experience. So all of these intense energies, that the stargates, the gamma rays, all this stuff is illuminating, and it's showing all that stuff that's been stuck inside of us in some way, because there's some aspect that's blaming another. There's some aspect that doesn't feel like they're responsible, that it's their doing. So this intensity is going to keep happening, because this Stargate is going to be open for 2 full years, guys. So that means that all of that stuff that's been accumulating in just this life and in previous lives and in our ancestry, all that stuff that has been accumulating, that has been locking us down in suffering / blame, is all coming to the surface fast and hard. So those of us who've been doing this work, who are awake to these other levels, I'll get to those questions in a minute, that are working on these levels. This is, I feel like, I'll say it for me, I feel like this is why I'm here, is because this capacity to love no matter what, this capacity to forgive myself and all that is, and bring compassion into these pieces, is liberating personally, but it's also liberating the collective. So all of us are here to do our part in that. And we're all going to trip and fall and buy into it sometimes, because we're human. Our humanness leaves us very vulnerable in a lot of ways. But this is the true exercise of power, in that all experiences that come, you have the power to transmute, transform. You have the power to bring beauty forward. Beauty inspires love. Beauty, okay? So if we all commit to that within ourselves, then we can, sure, we might have a story that allows us to talk about things with people, but inside, our feeling, our experience is simply an experience. There's no need for the story of why that experience exists. It's just that it exists. I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to love anyway. There's no reason, no real reason to say no or to turn my back on love. Because that's truly who we are. We are rivers of light, of love light, flowing through an infinite river of beingness, right? Hope this makes sense the way I'm saying it. But I'm so grateful for this vision. I knew it was important because it was so crystal clear when it was coming through. And I felt so extremely shifted by just witnessing, though I really couldn't put it into words yet or really understand. But then not long after that, the month following, I quite literally went through that experience, and I was given choices. And because of help from my friends, my community, people I love and who love me, I was able to keep my center and stick to my truth, what my real truth is. What's the real truth inside of my authentic self? Okay. As wayshowers, we find our combination. But I'm telling you right now, what I'm seeing, heartbreak is the name of the game right now, because that is what's in the way of our love. Heartbreak is in the way of us truly being authentically us and truly allowing us to see through to let go of those narratives and see through the lenses of love and compassion. I'm in this RV park. And this is actually where the event started for me. And I instantly get put into a community of people. They're outdoorsy people. They're outdoorsmen, let's say it like that. But as I sat and talked and got to know the men around me, all of them have heartbreak. All of them have this beautiful, painful, scathing heartbreak story. And somehow, in the way that I was showing up and kind of letting them witness my journey through all this, it was like they were getting activated, 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 to the point where a new heartbreak story came into our community. So just this morning, a new heartbreak story came into our community. So now we all hold space for that. They're not stars. Well, maybe they are, but they're hidden or not activated, but they're just normal humans walking their life the best they can. And somehow they're able to really understand what they're witnessing with my journey, and what they're witnessing with one of their fellow men's journeys. It's like they're really present and understanding, and actually really want to be there for their fellow man and woman. I'm a woman. I'm the sole woman in the group. But it's really liberating, because it's like I can see the healing that's happening for these guys, because I'm a woman, but I don't want anything from anybody. I'm just in my experience, sharing the blow by blows and my heartbreak and my tears, and they are really, really sweet in that, we can bawl our eyes out and then laugh. Someone will make jokes about stuff, and then we would laugh, and then we would bawl, then we would laugh. When I say we, I truly mean we. It's not just me that's crying. You know what I mean? So it's this beautiful opening that's happening with me, a wayshower, and these very normal, average human beings, right? So we have something to offer our fellow humans, even if they don't understand things at the level that we understand them. So that's another message in here. It's like our human family needs us badly. And if we can show up in a very, vulnerable, authentic way without needing them to understand our language, just be real, they understand real. When people are in their raw emotions, they understand real. Okay. And I'm not saying, telling a story about a book you read. I'm talking about just being very truthful within the feeling that you're having in the moment, right? That's how we help. Okay, let me get to a couple of these. What I see going on here. Hello, darling. Oh, Spiritbound. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so glad that you finally have a place. All right. Congratulations on that. Congratulations, dear Starshine, really. All right. So question. I have a Christian friend who always says it's not me, but the power through me. It's seen as a means of being humble, but is it accurate? Okay. So yeah. Goodness. I wish I had a better word. Adjective. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. We're just going to say goodness, just because what they mean is virtuous, and maybe even divine, and that, there's some real interesting truth nuggets within the Christian lens, right? And I would resonate, with this, what they're saying, because they're saying that there's me, the ego driver, who I think I am, but then there's a power that moves through me. Their teachings don't allow them to realize that power is their true spirit, is their inner authentic light. Their, the river of life force that flows through them. They attribute it to God, aka a being named Yahweh. But it's that's where the distortion comes in. But the actual experience that they're trying to describe, it's not me, but a power through me, right? The essence of that I completely resonate with, because this is so. We, spirit, our light, our souls, our infinite nature works through us all the time, even in our brokenness, even in our pain, even in our mistakes. It's always moving through us. And this way we are innocent children. We are our physicality, this biosuit. We are the result of that union between spirit and matter. Now I'll get into the DNA dance stuff a little bit later, because that's going to add a totally different dynamic to this conversation. But so this is true. And actually the folks that are here are very Christian. Very Christian. That's their upbringing. I have a dear brother Starshine here that is a Christian counselor, right? Very wise man, very sincere man. And it was because the sincerity I was actually even able to really sit and listen to his story. Because it wasn't just, well, I'm a counselor and I'm this and I'm that. It wasn't an ego driver thing. It was truly an attempt of a heartfelt sharing. And we can recognize when something's heartfelt, and we can recognize when someone's just getting it out of a book, right? I mean, come on. Telling us what to do versus telling us what one has done, or telling an experience that one has had. Very different things. Very, very different things. If we don't allow ourselves to feel bad, how can we ever truly feel good? Yes, exactly. So that's the piece here. We think because we feel bad, now we need to do something to not feel bad anymore. It's like, okay, all right, I understand that there is managing life, so you can go through your life commitments, especially if you're a parent, right? You need to show up for your kids, all this stuff. There's things that you can do to manage life. But I think what happens is that people have developed an aversion, and they push away that which feels bad, when really, if we sit with the experience and feel what that terrible situation brings up inside of us, and just keep going deeper into that, that is where we become stronger from every experience. That is where we become more in touch with ourselves in every experience. A dear sister Starshine made this beautiful comment to me. It was a few days ago. And she's a Hape practitioner, and she said, because we were talking about how pain is love, and that was an idea brought forward by dear Starshine in our grid work session that we had last week. That I think she said she heard this line in a song that says that your pain is your love. And at first you may be like, huh? Don't feel the same, do they? But really what I'm seeing in that, or what I'm hearing in that, is that, our pain is the parts where love is not moving. It's something that's been held in place, and that's what's causing the pain, rather than letting our love move through. Okay. And so dear sister Starshine, the Hape practitioner, she says to me, there's all, I don't know if you guys know about Hape. It's a plant medicine that's derived in a spirit called grandfather tobacco. It's an ancient medicine. And in the Western world, like everything else, of course, it can be and is abused. That's very true. I have to acknowledge that first off, because the way I was first introduced to it was in a very sacred manner, and it was used sparingly, and it was really all about connecting with the spirit, with a plant spirit that is dedicated to helping assist humanity. Okay. But as I got further into knowing the Hape community, I started to realize, there's a lot of people that just, they overuse, because they're not really able to yet hold the space and let the plant spirit do its work. They kind of they do it and then they're out of it, right? There's like this, a bit of abuse. I had dear Starshine, what was her name? Oh shoot, now I can't remember her name. Anyway, she was expressing her aversion to Hape because of what this abuse looks like. So I can concede and acknowledge that. Absolutely. But I would say the people that I bring into my inner circle, they deeply, deeply honor the spirit and use it for what it's meant for. And what she recommended was, there's a particular hape that's called the Mother Rose, Sacred Mother Rose. And I know this hape very well. It's one of my favorites, and it was actually the first hape that that I fell in love with and was taught by the spirit how to connect and how to work with the spirit in an honoring way, in a right relationship way. So it's a very beautiful, beautiful spirit. And she said, she recommended that I ask the Mother Rose to help me when, as my heartbreak comes, as my pain comes, as I go into it, to ask for assistance, that this pain bring me closer to myself, my true self. My pain bring me closer to the essence of that river flow that's inside of me. And I did that. And of course, it works. It takes focus, it takes concentration, it takes the willingness to let go of the story. It takes, I mean, it's definitely a challenging thing for the ego driver, but it works. And I'm so grateful for that reminder, because when that pain comes, it's like I can just keep dropping in, dropping in, dropping in. And I'm going to talk about dropping in because I realize that there's a lot of people that don't understand how to drop into their pain. It's like they can tell that they're avoiding a feeling, but they don't know how to drop in past that avoidance piece. So I will take a minute to talk about that. But first, let me get going through these questions. All right. If we don't allow it, yeah. Okay. I cried in front of my masculine friend the other day. It was appropriate though. Shook him because he'd never seen me cry before, but it moved him. Yes. Because it's a vulnerability. It's an innocence. Some people cry to manipulate, but that's not us. That's not us. That's not starseeds. We are in a space of, we just want to be real in who we are. We just want to truly be who we are and to be seen and accepted, right? That's what we all want. So when we can just be very real with ourselves and not have to put on a face, and we have people around us that, that can hold space for that, it's really powerful. This is why community is so important, that we have a community of people around us that can really hold that sacred space, can really hold a clear and open, compassionate space, because we all get deeper. We all go deeper in this. Okay, if occultism and Christianity had a baby, that would be me. Yes. So because we pick and choose, right? We recognize the higher truths in each of these teachings, right? And we marry them together, because it's the higher truth that's going to see us through. That's the real tool, the real pillar of strength for us going through these intensities. Okay, so that's been my focus for a while, Christina. It's been showed to me over and over. Allowing ourselves to feel bad and be present with the pain, the heartache, is being present in beauty. Yes, and then it's gone. Yes, it moves. It does. It moves. Really, if I stayed in that story, if I stayed in my story, I really just had to let myself die, and let my dear Starshine die, like the facilitator of this pain. Just let all that, like, rest in peace. I know you're dead. I know this is gone. This is over. All this stuff. The more upsetting it was, the more tears I had. But I had it so fully that I can visit it now, and it doesn't overtake me, right? And I have the ability to hold myself in a very loving way, and hold all parties in a very compassionate way, and see it in a different way, and engage in a different way. And I'm not in the power struggle, because the power struggle, oh man, it takes so much energy. It takes so much energy to exercise power over, to have control over it. Man, it takes so much energy. And I don't want to spend my energy that way. I want to spend my energy with you guys. I want to spend my energy with the people in Light Body. I want to spend my energy, loving and nurturing and holding a space for the people around me. That's how I want to spend my energy. I don't want to spend my energy in that's ridiculous. To me, that's absolutely ridiculous. It's a waste. It's an absolute waste. All right, dear Tony says, wow, that hit home. Pain is love, not moving through. Love it. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Tony. Yeah. So now this is all, you guys will see the truth of what I'm saying when you go through this experience and realize that, whoa, I'm actually through this experience. I'm not stuck in the real. And this is where death and dying come in as a very powerful teacher. People who like grief, right? People who really work through their grief, like really feel it and have all the different layers of what their grief brings, they will love again. Okay. They can look at the pictures of their beloved that has died and feel love for them rather than sadness and grief. There's some people that never get over their grief. Like say like you have a couple that have been together for many decades and one dies. Okay. Some people don't ever get over that, or having the death of a child. Some people never get over that. But that's because they're not able to really have the pain through and through and through and through and through. And so when they see the picture of the child or of the beloved, they just feel love for them. And you know what I mean? I had a dear friend of mine years ago lose a child in a car accident, and how she dealt with it was she just took all the pictures she had of the child and put them everywhere, but her partner was the opposite. He was just like, I don't want to, this is heartbreak. I don't want it reminded every time I come into the kitchen about our child's death. It's like they were on very opposite sides of the spectrum in the process. But deep inside, some part of her knew that she needed to go through the pain. And that's why she did that. So she couldn't get away from the pain, so she can have it and feel it and move on and love again. Okay. Our love gets stronger when we do this. Our heart, the power of our compassion, our capacity gets stronger every time we do this. And I'm not saying I desire pain at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying when it's there, you keep going. There's a wonderful saying in I think gosh, now I can't remember. There's a wonderful saying that this is a warrior saying that when you find yourself in hell, keep going. Don't try to go back. No, just keep going. All you can do is just keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. When it's in front of you and you're having it, don't try to wall it off. Don't try to control it. Keep going. Drop in more and more and more and more and more. Keep dropping in, keep dropping in, keep dropping in. You're helping yourself. You're helping your ancestry. Oh, and this is the other piece I realized, especially the male ancestry in my family. Heartbreak was a major, major player in all of their deaths, like dying of heart attacks, right? That is a manifestation of unprocessed heartbreak. And it's also a manifestation of a distortion that your heart would actually attack you. It's not true. It's not true. That's not the real truth. Okay. So yes, so in one narrative, it is the truth on one level, but on another level, the narrative is the opposite of this, right? So the more I was going into it, I was recognizing how I was transmuting, transforming, and bringing beauty to all the heartbreak I inherited from the men in my family. And there's no accident that I'm surrounded by men here, all experiencing heartbreak. I was in Tennessee, and it was there too. I don't know if you guys remember last year, I spent a lot of time in Monroe County in Tennessee, deep in the mountains, really, really, pretty isolated kind of place. And there were men with broken hearts everywhere. One of them was the manager of the grounds I was at. Poor guy, I say poor guy, I don't mean like he was a victim, but he was in absolute turmoil. The love of his life turned out to be doing him really wrong, and it broke his heart that one, that she would do that, but the two, that he was going to lose his entire life's work to the parting. And then there was another man that shows up that had his heart broke, and he came from out of town. He just shows up, and he was nursing a broken heart. And then, you know, so the stories kept coming. So I feel like this is a culmination. This moment that I'm in, these moments that I'm in, is a culmination of all that heartbreak, of all that heartbreak. And as I have it, feel it, and bring beauty and love into the pain, it unravels. It's like I feel like I'm liberating. I'm liberating my father, my grandfather, my uncles, my great-grandfather. I feel like I'm somehow liberating them from the pain that they've accumulated, not just in the, you know, the physical DNA structure, but in the akasha as well, which fuels me more, which fuels me even more. All right, I'm going to keep scrolling down. Hey, Young Trick, welcome, welcome. Young Trick named Jim says, my partner and I are growing sacred tobacco this year. Very excited to use it in ritual and ceremony. Yes, tobacco is very powerful, guys. Now, it's been something distorted and twisted in the habits of the Western world, as you guys know, but it's at its root, at its, you know, let's say raw form, and its unadulterated form, it is so potent. It is a very strong and ancient plant medicine. And you don't have to smoke it, like inhale. There's sacred tobacco that you don't smoke. You just, if it's a burning one, hape is not a burning kind, but if it's a burning one, you hold it in your mouth and you pray with it in your mouth, and then you blow it. It's called the visible breath. You blow it. Okay. The Quero and certain medicine traditions of Central and South America have a similar thing about the visible breath is so important, but they use Florida water. So they spit Florida water so you can see the breath. You can see the intention of the energy of the breath. Okay. It's visible. It's bringing it from invisible into the visible world, into that spectrum. Okay. Very, very ancient things that we're talking about here, potent. We think it's just spitting, the Western ignorance, but it's not. It's so much more than that. It's bringing the sacred into these moments. And when you bring the sacred into moments of pain, then now that's sacred pain. That's a sacred part of your journey. That's a sacredness. Spirit is present. Okay, spirit is present, and that completely changes the game. It's not a human game anymore. It is a sacred drama unfolding. It is a sacred drama of the soul, of the spirit unfolding. You see what I mean? Spirit, yeah, says, I don't need to seek pain. I'm sure it knows how to find me, and then I'll be present with it when it is. Indeed, indeed. After my own heart, dear. Absolutely. Yeah, don't set up camp. Exactly. Don't set up camp. Right? It's let it all be as a river flows. That, you know, that term came to me a few weeks ago, and I'm realizing that because how I see things, I would always see, like, take data sets, intuitive data sets, as a river flows, and as it accumulates, it starts to create a picture of understanding for me. So I've used it in this context, but this is a whole nother level of context that I'm realizing that the onset of all these cosmic frequencies changing our DNA, and, you know, it's changing the capacity of our embodiment. We, in order to keep our sanity, in order to keep our ability to stay within our bodies, we need to allow our consciousness, our conscious awareness, to move and be free as a river flows. Because once we do that, we can let things be fresh and new, and we do not need to recreate the pains of the past. We don't need to recreate the structures of the past. We can just be in the open free flow as a river flows. And there's no accident that I'm camped right across the street from a raging river right now. This is spring in Montana, so all the melt off is happening, right? Very high level river, and it is rushing, rushing, rushing. No accident there, right? No accident. So what it is to how to drop into those feelings that there's resistance to. There's a practice that we do in Light Body. part of the training that we offer is called Light Body 101, where we pretty much teach foundation practices to help us with all these pieces that I talk about, right, in the chats, like how to stay in command of your energy, how to have good personal energetic hygiene, how to truly be centered and grounded within your being. And I'm talking way beyond grounding cords, right? So there's all these exercises that we do have a lot of layered wisdom within them, okay? And one of them is tuning into your rhythms. What does that mean? Our biosuit is an electromagnetic vehicle, okay? It's on top of being a telluric vehicle. Yes, there's atoms and molecules that come together to make cells, and those cells come together to make tissues, and those tissues come together to make organs, and those organs come together to make systems. But all the organization of these different layers of telluric intelligence is enveloped and even brought together by our energetic light body and that electromagnetic existence. All this is electromagnetic. So when you are dropping into your rhythms, there are literally thousands of rhythms you can drop into. The easiest one is the breath. And the breath is really powerful because if you focus on your breathing, especially breathing into your abdominal, your abdomen and your lower body, you can stimulate a rest and digest state in your body, and your body can relax and start the healing process. So that's really powerful. But then there's other rhythms that are really potent to drop into. One of them being is your heartbeat. Okay. Notice I'm saying drop into, because that's really what it feels like when you are quieting yourself, slowing yourself down, and you focus on your heartbeat. This starts happening with your awareness. Your awareness, rather from being up here in the mind thoughts, all of a sudden your awareness starts focusing here in the heartbeat. It starts dropping down. And you can be in that rhythm. And we add other things into this practice, like smiling into the heartbeat, okay? Then once you get the heartbeat in your awareness, you can drop down to yet another rhythm in the solar plexus, and then another rhythm in the perineum. And each stage requires you to be relaxed and dropping down, the feeling of dropping down in your awareness more and more and more, okay? So in the practice, like in the foundations that we teach, it's rhythms, connecting with rhythms and smiling, but it's that exact same process that allows you to drop down into your feelings, drop down into what you're feeling in the moment. Okay, same process. It's just your intention is not to necessarily focus on rhythms. Your intention is to drop into feelings, emotions. Okay, feelings and emotions are different. Emotions is energy emoting, right? It's stuff from the past. Our feelings is what's in the now. Okay, our feelings are what's in the now. So both feel like the same, dropping into them. And you'll drop into them, you'll have the feeling, and then you'll bounce out. And then you drop into it again, have more feeling, and then you bounce out. Okay, and that's the practice. You just keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. Now, what you want to avoid doing is having the painful feeling and telling yourself the story in your head why you're feeling so painful. Let go of the mind thoughts, let go of the narrative. Have your feeling and just focus on the feeling of having the feeling. Now, I'll start to oscillate between love and pain, and I'll go when, I've been doing this for quite some time, so I can stay in that state of feeling emotions, right? And I'll oscillate between love and gratitude, and feeling or having emotions, love and gratitude, having emotions. Like I'll just keep oscillating back and forth like that. And there's a point in time where I actually feel like my heart is going to break. And that's the magic point. That's the point where you're really dropping into something important. And then as my heart breaks and I'm oscillating, then all of a sudden I feel liberated. I feel lighter. I feel like that is one less piece of pain that's mine anymore. It's done, you know. Now it happens in layers because we have many layers of heartbreak we've inherited from our family and our Akashic, and there's all sorts of layers around that. So it's not going to be a quick fix, but it is a path through. So when you come out the other side, you're more compassionate, more loving, more present. You're even stronger and solid inside of your being, versus being on the hamster wheel where now, you got the story. This is why my heart's broken, because ... You see what I mean? Right. Welcome, Soul Schooling. Good to see you. Yes, feelings versus emotions. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so let's, this last piece, I want to talk about power, what real power is. Now, I talked about it a little bit in the beginning. So I have had the benefit, I started my training many years ago. A lot of it, was pain, stuff in my childhood. I had a lot of like abduction experiences, stuff like this that was really kind of crazy. And the memories of a lot of that didn't come through until my 30s. But my medicine training started in my early 20s, when I was actually, no, that's not true. I actually started when I was a teenager. But the real medicine training, let's say, when I was a teenager, that I knew that I had propensity towards meditation, and like I did yoga. I knew about energy, certain kinds of energy medicine, like Reiki, and I did all those things. Mantras, loved mantras. Was taken in by a beautiful Zen Buddhist center who really influenced me too as a teenager. So that started, but I didn't start actually meeting my master teachers until my early 20s. And one of them, I didn't know his name, but he came into my dreams often. And I eventually met him in person years later. His name was Maestro Panduro. He was a shapeshifter. He was a being that he was a human body that had full connections to his cosmic aspects. So he can shapeshift. He can come into my dreams. He would materialize in the backseat of my truck. I mean, we didn't speak the same language, right? But I understood, and he understood. And he was considered a master. I'm sorry, hence the name Maestro, right? A master sorcerer of the jungle. Okay. And this is the roots of the dark force training that I've had in my life, where it's all about how to counteract dark forces, counteract dark sorcery. Now, not all sorcery is bad. Not all of it is dark. So do know this. Sorcery is, I think the typical understanding is different than how I understand it. Okay. But like Don Juan in the Carlos Castaneda series, he was considered a sorcerer. Okay. Was he good or bad, right or wrong? Who's to say? He trained Carlos well. So, and so he taught me. And then his, not disciples, but he had other embodied people that also taught me about counteracting dark forces. And this is where I learned what the true meaning of standing in your power is. Okay? Because when you are battling dark forces, okay, it's an art, and it's not about the fight. It's not about the battle. As soon as you strike with your sword, you've lost. As soon as you strike in a forceful way, you've lost the battle. They've gotten you. And that's because you've exercised with your will and intention a power over dynamic. You see what I mean? So I had a lot of shadows to deal with stepping into true power. True power means shadow work, and a lot of it, because in the past, all of us who are called to this kind of thing throughout the journey through the Milky Way galaxy and beyond, we have all experienced the abuse of power. We've all experienced how we abused power over others. Okay, that's our shadow work. That's the shadows. the things that we have to unravel and bring compassion for and forgive. So a lot of times we have to release the beings that we've tortured. We have to release the beings that we've caused great suffering for, you know. There's lots of layers, and I'm not talking about just on the human level. We've done this on many levels, okay, including dancing with AI, TI constructs, okay. That's a really big level that impacts all of humanity right now, okay. So when it comes to stepping into your power, as soon as you strike a blow, you've lost. You've lost. So how do you then counteract dark forces if you cannot strike? Oh, you also cannot defend. That's the other thing. You cannot strike and you cannot defend. Then what do you do? What do you do? Well, you are in that situation because you are challenged to navigate the situation. It's a razor's edge. Slightest little tilt one way or the other, you've lost, you're off. It's a razor's edge. You are challenged on how to put one step in front of the other, staying in complete impeccability and integrity with who you truly are. And who are you truly? You are love. You are light, aka awareness. You are infinite. So you are faced with the challenge of staying within that river flow, that infinite river flow of who you are, that infinite fountain of the love of who you are, and that infinite conscious awareness that you have the ability to be in, okay? When you're coming from that place, you realize what's in front of you is not a battle at all. And that is where the right action to take comes to you. When you are no longer in that battle. You're not in the battle. That other being is in the battle. They're ready to strike. But that's not where you are. That's not what you see. You see something completely different. And so what do I do? Depending on the situation, there's lots of different scenarios here. If it's a human, I talk to their soul and I offer to wake them up. I offer them a different choice. If it's a Dark Lord, same thing. But see, the Dark Lords are much different to work with because they are in another dimensional, they're another outer nesting doll. So I need to be not only completely, aware of that nesting doll, but even beyond in that, I make contact with how they became a Dark Lord. And there's a big reveal. There's a huge reveal. It's a Star Wars series, huge reveal. Because in that series, it reveals to the human race that Dark Lords are made. How are they made? They're tortured. They're tortured by their fear until they take an action that they can't come back from. And we saw this in the Star Wars series. In this case, it was Anakin Skywalker. What was the action he took he couldn't come back from? Slaughtering all those children. He couldn't come back from that. It's not that he couldn't redeem himself. He could not let himself be redeemed. You see what I mean? Because he did that. So Dark Lords are tortured beings themselves. See, this is what I mean. You have to see beyond that battle. Because as soon as you strike with your sword or you defend with your shield, you're in the battle and you've lost. You've lost. There's no way to win. Another, and this is the part I really want to leave. I want to leave you guys with thinking about when it comes to facing darkness, when it comes to facing shadow. Do you guys remember when Luke Skywalker? I'm assuming you guys have seen these movies. These are old classics. There's a series of scenes where Luke Skywalker was on this planet studying with Yoda, with the last Jedi Master, right? And there was this place where the dark force lived. And Yoda, he's like, what's in there? And Yoda says, that's the dark force. That's the dark side of the force, right? And 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 Yoda tells him, you can go in there. Oh no, he asks what's in there. And Yoda tells him, whatever you bring. Whatever you bring is what's in there. So Luke brings his lightsaber, and Yoda says, you will not need that. But he brings it anyway. So he goes into the cave of the dark forces. He goes into that cave, has a battle with his lightsaber. It does nothing. And so what he sees, he himself strikes the Dark Lord, chops off his head. And then he looks and sees himself. His own head has been severed. Okay? In that was a very deep truth being shown to him, one that he was afraid of. His fear was used against him, one that was shocking, one that he could not accept. You know, later on, of course, in the movies, he accepts it and he realizes the truth of it. But it was, this is the whole thing about dark forces, it was a truth that he was not ready to own and recognize yet. Okay? So he forced his hand, he forced it when he went into that cave of the dark forces. He wasn't ready. But when you're ready, it's a whole different ballgame when you go into a cave like that. The truth, you now have a relationship to the truth when you're ready. The relationship to the truth is your power, is your superpower. Dark forces has power over you when you do not have proper relationship with truth. When truth is so scathing, you reject it. When truth is so scathing, it wounds you. Okay? This is why this work that we do is so freaking important. So the truth, no matter how scathing, is something that makes you stronger. It is something that brings you closer to yourself. It is a pain that you can navigate to bring you even deeper into who you really are. See what I mean? So we're going to talk a lot more about these kinds of things in the coming chats because, like I said, this cosmic bombardment that we're all going through right now isn't going to end. This isn't an aperture opening and closing and now we have to have time to deal with it. No. This is full-on bombardment. Things are happening very, very quickly like this. Right? There's no time. There's no time to go back and reconcile the past. Just let it all go. Let it be as the river flows and let the now moment bring you into what's really happening right now. And how do you orientate to the right now over and over and over again? Eventually we'll be at that place where we can be at the unknown and have the courage to dream, to envision, to imagine the beauty we want to bring forward in the next moment. No matter what kind of pain we're in the moment before. Okay, this is where it's bringing us to over and over and over again. People are going to really lose their shit. I'm not kidding. People are going to lose their shit. But us here that have another kind of awareness, we can help them through that. Okay, we're not saving anybody. We're an example of what it looks like. So we hold space, we listen, we speak from our own experience, not concepts, not just things that are concepts in our head, but our true experience and our beingness. And we are going to help people. We are going to help our brothers and sisters join us as we rise to the truth of who we really are as a collective. Nobody's getting left behind. A lot of people are going to be in pain, but that's okay. That too shall pass, as they say. We are all a family of star shines, waking up to who we really are. And there are really profound aspects of us, of you, of me, that are ready to drop in and be embodied as we go through these pieces step by step by step. So we're not alone on that level. And there's the natural world there with us too. So we have a lot of support if we're willing to accept it. There's a lot of realizations that are just going to keep coming to help us be more stronger and stronger and stronger inside of our being. And that's how we navigate. That is how we navigate. Alrighty, dear starshines. This hour goes by so fast. Wow. All right. If you guys want to support these chats and help other people find us, please be sure to, like the video, share it if you can on social media, and also make comments. All of you here, thank you so much for being here live. You guys really, I super appreciate your support. You inspire me so much. And hang in there, darling starshines. I know it's a rough ride, but there are smooth spots. Celebrate them when they happen, and do know you are not alone going through this. I'm with you. All the other people here that are here will also be with you. And we are going to start providing a monthly support meeting where we're going to do forgiveness practice with the power over dynamics, the abuses, we're just going to, I just want to offer this as a support to you guys to help you unravel these entanglements in your ancestry and in the Akasha, so you can just let go of the bindings that hold you to, toxic ways or programs, and put you in a position to be better poised to be even more fully present with the experiences happening for you. So we'll announce that date soon. As soon as we get that hammered out, I'll let you guys know. But until then, darlings, have a wonderful week. Lots of love to you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.